Welcome to Scorched Earth and the general reading for the sign of Libra, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of January 2023. Happy New Year. I hope you're well. I'm using the Crow Tarot for you today. Just a reminder that, what am I reminding you about? There are 3 links in the description box down below. The first one of those is to the extended that will be happening after this reading. If the reading resonates with you and you'd like to go a little bit deeper, you can access that at the end. The second link is to the 6-month overviews from January to June 2023. So if you're interested in seeing what that 6-month period holds for you, that's the second link in the description box. The third link is to my private community, the Order of the Phoenix, over on Circle. So if you're interested in that, you can also come and check that out too. But let's see what's going on with you. So can I have 3 cards, please, for Libra? What's going on with Libra? We have the Death card in your recent past. I have current energy for Libra, please. Thank you. That one flew out. We've got the 4 of Wands, and what's coming towards Libra, please, for January. We have the 4 of Swords, double 4s. We've got the 2 of Swords at the bottom of the deck, followed by the Fool. That's quite interesting. Let's just see which. I'm going to go with the John Bauer to clarify. Let's just flip this around so you can see what I'm looking at here. So we've got Death, which is Scorpio in the major arcana, and then these double Fools here with this 2 of Swords and the Fool at the bottom of the deck. Let's get some clarifiers and then we'll see what's going on with this. About Death, please. We have the 8 of Wands. Please, thank you. And we have the Temperance card. Tell me about the 4 of Wands, please. Thank you. We have, get it up, we can have the Judgment card. And we've got the Ace of Cups. And what about the 4 of Swords, please? Thank you. We've got the Knight of Swords, Gemini energy. And we've got the Devil. Interesting, because we also have Death. Let's put this where you can see it. We've also got Death at the bottom of this set of cards too. So, the first thing to say is that for some of you, like, Death might be a bit of a present companion at the moment. It could be that you've had some sort of bereavement. I don't feel like it's terribly close if you have, but it might be. But it's already happened, if that's the case. So you don't need to worry about anybody, shuffling off anytime soon. It could just be that is an energy that is surrounding you at the moment. What I think is more likely for most people, and for the most part, is that there is some sort of transformation of your circumstances and yourself that is happening at the moment. We say this because we do have the Temperance card underneath here. That's a card of Sagittarius, and it's a card that talks about moderation and balance, equilibrium, but it also talks about healing. You notice here we've got a heart underneath the water. I don't know if you can see it in the camera there. Like, it's like there's a bit of an emotional overhaul going on with you at the moment, Libra. I can see that kind of unfolding here. The 8 of Wands talks about communication, and so it could be that you've been talking to people and this is what has caused this, swell of emotion to come up here. But that 8 of Wands in particular talks to me about something coming in, right? It's got that sense of perhaps a storm coming in of sorts, or just the feeling of something coming towards you. So with the Death card being there, it's the sense of transformation that has set into, it's kind of baked into your existence at this point. Because things have been pretty hard for you for the last few months. I know that there was a lot of work that you ended up doing on your identity, because parts of it were being challenged by what it was that you were being pulled to do. Behaviours or actions that you somehow felt resistant to, but were necessary for you to be able to preserve yourself and your well-being and all those kind of things, right? There's the healing energy of the Temperance card, at play there. But this spirit of transformation is carried across both decks of cards. And so there's a sort of as above, so below kind of energy to this, because this is the shadow card at the bottom of the clarifying deck, and this is the main card that's come out of it, but it's come out of the top level. What am I trying to say there? Oh, I'm not entirely sure, but you see what I mean, right? As above, so below. There's a sense that the changes that you are bringing into you, the changes that are coming perhaps around your personality, your character, those kind of things, your sense of identity altogether, it is beginning to be reflected in what it is that you have got in front of you, what is lining up for you in some sort of way. Because I think for the most part, many of you felt incredibly trapped just 2 months ago by circumstances. And as you have worked through what has been coming up, it seems like things are starting to alleviate. Things are starting to change, probably more than alleviate, to be honest. And this is thoroughly welcome. I want to pull another card because I feel like there's something else sitting there in that little trifecta of cards that I haven't quite grasped yet. What about the death card? I'm not going to take those because they're kind of toppled out. Let's try that again. There we go. 4 of Wands. Yeah, I mean, well, double 4 of Wands here. There is an excitement about you now, Libra. There's the Ace of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. And it seems to be related to what you are leaving behind, but what you are now choosing to embrace. What you are, in fact, it seems, beginning to build for yourself. Because the 4 of Wands talks about the creation of a new foundation, right? All cards numbered 4 are foundational level cards, right? Think about them in terms of a square. And from here, everything else can be built on top. But the 4 of Wands specifically talks about the energy that we put into creating that foundation. And it is filled with, joy and happiness and hope and whatnot. I mean, one of the other things that the 4 of Wands talks about for me is a sense of home. Not necessarily the 4 walls and the roof that encircle you, but it's the people that feel like home. Who are the people that you would turn to when things are very bad, to talk to get their advice, to get their perspective, or even to just let stuff out? And also, who would be those people that you call when you had some really, really good news? Who would want to share in that with you? That is home, and that is represented by the 4 of Wands. And I feel like it's undertaken somewhat of a subtle shift of late. And there's this energy of wanting to put more energy into what feels good, what feels like home to you, and make more of your life contain that kind of energy than where you have come from, what you were dealing with a couple of months ago. This, like I said, this Ace of Pentacles is a new point of attention, actually, for you. It's a new point of investment. Maybe you've overhauled some of your time management practices. You've been looking at your day-to-day habits. And I mean, we're just about to go into Mercury retrograde in Capricorn as I'm recording this. Well, actually, we've still got another week or so before we go in there. But certainly the shadow period, we're in the middle of it at the moment, and that energy is starting to build. And so, one of the aspects of Capricorn in this sense is having you go back to what it is that you do on a day-to-day basis, how you order your time, where you can make it more efficient. That Mercury retrograde actually has us either stopping or going backwards to look at what we have already put in place and see if it's what is actually going to take us to our end goal. And this sense of you creating this new foundation here and really investing in the idea that you want more of this is the thing that actually is going to bring it towards you in the end, for sure. When I said your current energy, actually, let's just look at these two 4 of Wands here, because this 4 of Wands feels like the realization. It feels like the acknowledgement of the fact that things haven't been the way that you wanted to, and so you are now going to put some work into it. And this one here feels like that actually happening in practice. Now, the Judgment card and the Ace of Cups is here. Dovetailing very neatly, I have to say, actually, with this Ace of Pentacles here. The Ace of Cups is about that source of emotion within you, right? It is about your relationship with yourself, but it is also about your desire for emotion to give to other people, to share with other people, to have this on a reciprocal kind of level, because the Four of Wands is almost always depicted as a symmetrical card, right? The symmetry is really obvious in this Crow Tarot here. And there's a sense of you being able to put energy into something and get a corresponding amount of energy back, which creates something that is a little bit more than the sum of its parts in the middle. And it's a really good place to build from, right? We've got the sense of building from. But these two cards here together tell me that you are absolutely set on what it is that you are looking to create for yourself right now, right? This level of investment is emotional and practical, but it speaks to the way that you are learning to value yourself and what feels good to you in a way that you haven't done before. And this Judgment card here, which can be Aries or it can be Scorpio, or frankly it can be neither, it doesn't need to be either of those things, has an interesting dual meaning, in so much as it can talk to the resurrection of old situations that you thought were gone. It can talk about people coming back into your life that you thought had exited permanently. But those people who return and those situations that arise in a Mercury retrograde are doing so in order to give you an opportunity to break ties with them, right? It's about crossing T's and dotting I's. It's about tying up loose ends, whether those loose ends are practical in nature or whether there's something to do with the way that you're perceiving the situation. So we've got that aspect of it there. Yes, I did mention that. Just forgotten whether I'd mentioned them retrograde or not. But it also talks about your judgment in a situation. It talks about decisions that you make and decisions that you are currently making that might well serve to change your life, right? The decisions that are made in under the Judgment card are intense. They're not... it's very much not small fry. These are, I'm actually ready to change the direction of my life. Perhaps I'm a little bit, bored of feeling stuck, and I'm bored of doing the same fucking thing over and over again. Actually, I'm looking to do something different. Right? We would see that with the Judgment card too. Now, if you combine all of those meanings together, what we've got is, well, you're the third sign that I'm reading for so far, and I'm seeing similar themes coming up for everyone. This Mercury retrograde is not necessarily a really intense one, but it is one that is changing the direction of travel, right? Capricorn is cardinal earth, as you are cardinal air. So it's about, for you, it isn't just about thinking about where you could be. It's about starting to put things into motion for where you could be. And like I said, that could involve overhauling the way you spend your time day to day. It could be about changing the idea of where you are wanting to end up in a geographical sense, or in an experience sense, and a life sense altogether, because Capricorn wants you to do that. It's not sufficient that you think about the future and you think about what you could do. Capricorn is about putting things in place. It's about foundation building. All of the earth energy stuff is about earth. It is about foundation building to take you to where you want to go. And again, I want to point out this Ace of Pentacles saying, I'm going to go off in that direction. What are the practicalities involved? What is perhaps the money involved? Is there investment that is required from me, or do I need to pare down my expenses so that I can afford to do this thing? There's a lot up in the air here, but all of it feels incredibly positive. There's almost like a little twinge of excitement involved in all of this here for you. What are these two cards here? Strength card. There's growth happening here for you, and it's the kind of growth that comes from pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. I do not think that you are content to stay where you are anymore, Libra. I think the way in which you felt stuck a couple of months ago wasn't just unpleasant at the time, but what it's actually also done in the extricating yourself from it is opened up the possibility of different things that you could do instead. It's almost like you got made to feel really, really uncomfortable, experience the extremes of where you currently are, so that you come back to the centre and go, actually, do you know what? As uncomfortable as that has been over there, there's a proportionate amount of joy and new stuff and adventure that could be happening over here if I allow myself to go in that way. And that's how I'm seeing the thinking happening for you. Now, in terms of what's coming towards you in January, we have the Four of Swords, we have the Knight of Swords, and we have the Devil. So it could be that you're having direct dealings with a Capricorn, and if you are having direct dealings with a Capricorn, perhaps you begin talking about something. I don't think that there's necessarily been a falling out exactly, but there's certainly been a lack of communication between the two of you, right? The Knight of Swords is going this way, Devil's going this way. Oh, hello, Robin. It's so funny, right? So Robins are supposed to be super, super territorial, and so you only get one in any given area. I've got about 4 or 5. I'm starting to be able to tell them apart. And there's one that's really huge. It's a great big barrel of a robin, but they're all coming to sit on the wheelbarrow outside my window and look at me when I'm talking. That was a different one altogether. It wasn't the barrel robin. Anyway, robins are symbols of transformation. They are symbols of surviving adversity and coming through. So that message is for you. You might want to go and have a look at the extended meaning of robins. But yeah, that's the kind of brief overview. So, like I was saying, if you are dealing with a Capricorn and you two haven't been talking for a little bit, I feel like there's a truce coming, and that perhaps there might be some communication open, but probably not. More like it's a subsidence of a subsidence of any kind of tension between you. It's because there's a truce, there's a bit of civility, it's nearly Christmas, maybe that's the thing. For others of you who are not dealing with a Capricorn, there's a different kind of feeling that I get from this. I want to pull some from this. So that is Knight of Swords. So we have the High Priestess. We also have the Death card coming out again here. Interesting. That's 3 times in one reading, and I barely got any cards out on the table here, Libra. Tell me about... Ooh, okay. 3 of Cups in the World. You can't see any of these cards. Let me shovel these along. There we go. You can actually see what I'm looking at. So, the Four of Swords, just like the Four of Wands, foundational level card, right? Imagine the square. And this is about thoughts and feelings, and about thoughts, possibly thoughts about feelings, right? It's about your mind, and it's also about the truth as you understand it, right? Oh, fuck me, I've just noticed the Judgment card is at the bottom of that deck as well. This is some big energies you're fielding here, Libra. Because it follows on from the Three of Swords, the Four of Swords comes to talk about processing. It comes to talk about a state of coming to peace about a certain thing. But it can also talk about achieving a sense of mental stillness, right? Achieving a sense of mental peace within oneself. It's often given to be the meditation card, you know. It's about taking a break, taking a step back, taking, a bit of time to compose yourself over something. And generally that is an understanding of something, right? Some information has come to light. Maybe there's some insights about you or your situation or your life, that you've come to, and you need a bit of time to process that. But it's interesting that the Knight of Swords comes up instead of the Queen. The Queen of Swords is the Libra card. And it is that energy of processing, right? She's a very discerning energy. She passes all of the information, extracts what is useful from it, and then lets the rest go. The Knight of Swords is more about the transmission of information. So it's about the way that you think, and it's also about the things that you say to other people and people say to you, right? And maybe it's even exchange of information in some way. I think, and this is quite interesting, that in January, what you're not doing is getting direct answers from people that you are trying to talk to about things. This is very strange, but this is what I'm getting from this reading. Instead, it is falling to you to talk to people who aren't perhaps directly involved in the thing that you are doing, or that you're having to pull information from different sources that you wouldn't usually consult. Now, it's interesting that the High Priestess is under here, because that speaks to communication with, your higher self, source, wisdom and everything, right? It talks about your intuition. It talks about the potential of you moving from a far more intuitive position than perhaps you might have been comfortable with at any other point in your life. The Death card is arriving here again, and it seems that no matter where you go, there is no getting away from this transformational energy. Almost like everywhere you go, like the universe has just got a stick and it's just prodding you and being like, it's kind of like corralling you down a particular path. And part of this transformation is you listening to this little voice that is talking to you, rather than dealing in facts and direct statements that come from the mouths of the people that you are trying to talk to. You seem to be going more within and paying attention to how you feel about it, right? And this is where the information seems to be coming in for you. Now, that could be a little bit overwhelming, Libra, but nevertheless it's here. The Devil card is clarified by the Three of Cups and the World, and so there is an ending here, as if we didn't have enough suggestions of endings with the Death card showing up 3 times. But it seems to me like, again, I'm going to draw your attention back to the fact that you seem to be making a really big decision here that is going to change your life, and I think that you are aware that it is going to change your life. Sometimes when this card comes up, I say, well, you've got a few decisions to make, and they're going to feel like they're kind of low level, but the consequences of these will actually end up putting you somewhere that is considerably further away from where you are now than you could have possibly imagined. This feels like it's a very distinct, very conscious contemplation of potential opportunities for you, different directions for your life. And you understand exactly what this means, exactly what the consequences of it are. And this intuitive voice, this little chunter that's going along, it's all in the fields here for you, Libra. It's almost like you're being pulled along by the heart, and you know that there is so much that is going to have to change, and there is so much that is going to transform off the back of the decision that I suggest to you has actually already been made. You've already made this decision. Perhaps what you're trying to do at this point is find a way where it sits comfortably with you, because there will be consequences from it. Now, the funny thing is about this Devil and Three of Cups and World card here, right? Like I said, we've got the sense of an ending going on here. But this Three of Cups is about emotional support. Now, we could say that it looks like the sun is setting on a particular relationship or set of relationships that you have, right? And then they're coming to a close, they're coming to completion. Something that would dovetail very nicely with this decision that you are making and the Death cards that we're all seeing kind of clustering around here, pushing you to transform. And that could be for any one of a number of reasons. It could be that you've realised that you've outgrown a certain set of relationships. It could be that actually that there's been some shitty behaviour by people involved, and this is not something that you're prepared to put up with anymore. But there's a distinct ending here to the relationships that you've had either with one person or a number of people, right? A set of people. You're kind of like, I'm done with this, I'm growing, I'm going in a different direction. I mean, there is another way that I see this going, and there's a sense of
and that could be, and it's just not for all of you, but it's for some of you, that what's being realigned here is your sense of what is truly important to you. And the devil actually represents the fear of letting that go, the fear of the emotional support being let go. And so in order for it to continue in the way that you want it to, it has to transform. Its current situation needs to end, and it has to transform into something else. This is very interesting, because I don't think you're going into any of this lightly, but the place that it's coming from is something that is very new to you. You like to deal with certainties, you like to deal with facts and figures, you like to weigh everything up. And so there has to be a certain amount of tangible stuff that you can put on either side of the scales so you can see where it's starting to lie. And sometimes when that's taken to an extreme, you get analysis paralysis, and it's like, well, there's literally nothing to choose between them. Like, it's just exactly the same. That not so this time. For a start, the things that seem to be pulling you seem to be pulling from the heart, and so they cannot be picked up and put on the scales, as it were, right? This is something that's coming from really, really deep inside. And it does feel like there's something transformational for you, even just in the acknowledgement of that, let alone where it's going to take you. But you do feel to me to be being guided. Tell me about this Devil and Three of Cups and the World card. Devil, Three of Cups and the World card. There we go. There you are, finally, Queen of Swords. I've got a whole heap of cards that are falling out to the right here. I'll just show you what they are, but I'm not going to take them. We've got the Eight of Wands, Queen of Wands, Two of Cups, Four of Swords, and the Magician. I mean, again, this sense of finding some sort of state of peace within a relationship, whether it's letting it go or embracing it, I don't know. Eight of Wands appearing again, momentum building. We've got Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, strictly Aries, being indicated by this Queen of Wands, but I feel like this is more a burgeoning sense of confidence in you, in the decision that you are making. And then the Magician card, which is huge. Right? This is you having everything that you need to make the decision, but this is about you manifesting what it is that you want. And the card at the bottom of the deck is the Ten of Pentacles. So this can be to do with family, it can be to do with business, it can also be to do with your stability and your security and your home. So perhaps it is that you are genuinely thinking about relocating, maybe for work, maybe to be closer to people that you care about, perhaps even to be better off. Maybe you're downsizing your house, something like that. And in order to do that, you're going to have to take yourself away from the support network that you've had. But I like this because this means that you are fuck me. Look at this, there was a card sticking out at the bottom the wrong way around, and it is, of course, death. Right? Every single deck now that has been shown. There's nothing about this that feels flippant or reckless or careless. There's a lot of thought that is going into this, but there's a lot of consideration of a different kind of energy that seems to be at play on you at the moment, right? You know, listening to a different kind of voice. And the more you think about this, the more this seems to be right for you, which is outstanding, because you're going to be making some really quite spectacular changes in the coming months, Libra, without a shadow of a doubt. Now, remember in the 6-month overviews, I think the only sign that didn't get the Tower repeatedly was Sagittarius. For everybody else, there were huge shake-ups coming. And far better that they come from you than having the Tower hit and you having to respond to that, react to that. This feels like you're getting out in front of it because you sense the winds of change. I love this, Libra. This is absolutely spot on. So I am going to leave it there. I'm going to go over to Vimeo now. So if you would like to join me over there, and we'll dig into January and what that holds a little bit more for you, you are very welcome. Don't forget about the 6-month overviews, and and the community link if you want to check out any of those. You're very welcome to do so. But in the meantime, know that I love you all very, very much, and I'll see you soon.